Welcome to the first round of the Beginning Parli Pro event. On the floor debating, we have Hermiston, and in the chair, we have Yamhill Carlton. Hermiston, if you can show me your topic sheets front and back so that I can make sure that they're blank of any handwritten notes. Awesome. Awesome, thank you, I appreciate that. Again, topics have been randomly selected and given to the chair from Yamhill Carlton. He will select them throughout the contest. Reminder that there's no more than 3 topics that will be presented in the event, and it's 12-minute rounds. Any questions before we get started? Okay, I will mute and turn it over to you.
All right. We are now holding a session of the Oregon FFA State Parliamentary Procedures Career Development Event. Since this is a contest, we'll dispense with all opening ceremonies, closing ceremonies, old business, and proceed directly into the new business at hand. I will do my best to give everyone equal opportunity to speak. Madam Secretary, please draw first topic up for debate. Topic up for today is topic number 3. Should Oregon FFA support requiring a commercial driver's license for hauling of agricultural products or livestock? The chair will now entertain a main motion.
Mr. Chairman.
President from Hermiston.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move Oregon FFA support requiring a commercial driver's license for hauling of agricultural products or livestock by partnering with the Oregon Department of Agriculture and the United States Department of Agriculture to fund and research.
Thank you so much, Adrian.
A set of informational meetings and tours across Oregon regarding this topic by August 22nd, 2021.
Second.
Could you say that one more time for me, please?
Yes. I move Department of Agriculture and the United States Department of Agriculture to fund and research a set of informational meetings and tours across Oregon regarding this topic by August 22nd, 2021.
Second.
I'm sorry, my Wi-Fi just completely shut out. I have it to Oregon FFA supports requiring a CDL for hauling agricultural products or livestock. What is it from that point on?
By partnering with the Oregon Department of Agriculture and the United States Department of Agriculture to fund and research a set of informational meetings and tours across Oregon regarding this topic by August 22nd, 2021.
Second.
Now I have it to by partnering with the the Oregon Department of Agriculture and the U.S. Department of Agriculture. What is it after that? I'm so sorry.
To fund and research a set of informational and tours across Oregon regarding this topic by August 22nd of 2021.
Second. Second.
All right. So seconds have been called. Madam Maker, the main motion, your main motion reads that Oregon FFA supports requiring a CDL for hauling agricultural products or livestock by partnering with the Oregon Department of Agriculture and the United States Department of Agriculture to fund and research a set of informational meetings and tours regarding this topic by August 1st of 2021. Is that correct?
Informational tours or informational meetings and tours across Oregon.
Sorry.
And then the date is August 22nd of 2021.
Your main motion reads that Oregon FFA supports requiring a CDL for hauling agricultural products or livestock by partnering with the Oregon Department of Agriculture and the U.S. Department of Agriculture to fund and research a set of informational meetings and tours across this 22nd of 2021. Is that correct?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Madam Maker, the motion, first start to debate.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My first reason is that by requiring a CDL, we'll have to take better care of our livestock and our agricultural products, which will turn into a better end result for the ag market in general. My second reason is by partnering with the ODA and USDA, this allows us to have valuable research and a wide range of options to choose from so that we can better knowledge ourselves so we can address ourselves to the public. Coming to my third reason, by having meetings and tours across Oregon, we are reaching the public in a wide range of different ways to get our information out, and we are being successful in this by having two different types of ways to reach the public. My fourth reason is that by having them help fund this set of informational meetings and tours, we're allowing ourselves plenty of money to gather this research and make it more valuable and have a better quality of it so that we can address the public on a better level. My fifth reason, by having this first, we are giving ourselves plenty of time and yet keeping it so that it is still a relevant topic. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Is there any further debate?
Mr. Chairman?
Vice President from Hermiston.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I urge the delegation to vote in opposition of the main motion at hand for the following reasons. The first reason is that if you are driving a semi-truck, these people already have CDLs. What is the point if most of our agricultural products are being sold and transferred through semi-trucks? My second reason is that if you want to get a CDL, the backlog of DMVs is insane right now through the pandemic. There is so many people that are getting their license, and it would be so much time for them to get their CDL and then go to work. My third reason is that if they want to get their CDL, the money that it would take sometimes turns people away. You could have a perfectly fine driver that would be ready to go on the spot, but he would have to go get his and it would cost him money. So maybe he will go work for someone else. My fourth reason is that we cannot personally vote on this topic at hand. Sure, we can support it, but we can't really do anything about this topic with getting it the move on. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Is there any further debate?
Mr. Chairman,
Treasurer from Hermiston.
I move to amend the main motion by striking out everything after livestock and replacing it with over the weight of 5 tons by partnering with the Oregon Department of Agriculture and Oregon Department of Transportation to fund and research a list of pros and cons of this topic, along with partnering with Microsoft to create a virtual reality video game of driving a long-haul trailer by August 15th, 2022.
Second.
What was it after partnering with Microsoft?
To create a virtual reality video game driving a long-haul trailer by August 15th, 2022.
Second.
Second.
Amendment to the amendment to the main motion. Your amendment to the main motion reads that to strike out everything after livestock and put in over the weight of 5 tons, partnering with the Oregon Department of Agriculture and the U.S. Department of Agriculture with it.
Incorrect.
What?
It's Oregon Department of Transportation.
Sorry. So Oregon Department of Agriculture and Oregon Department of Transportation?
Correct.
Right, so Oregon Department of Agriculture and the Oregon Department of Transportation to fund and research a list of pros and cons on the topic and to create a VR video game which simulates driving a long-haul trailer by August 15th of 2022. Is this correct?
Correct.
The maker of the amendment to the main motion, your first right to debate.
My first reason to amend this main motion is that we need clarification of what exactly do we need a CDL for. By making it over the weight of 5 tons, it sets a bar of commercially what you're using this for compared to whereas you're taking a couple steers to the county fair. So it adds a clear line of what you need this for. My second reason is by partnering with the Oregon Department of Agriculture and the Oregon Department of Transportation, we have 2 valid resources to get information and have a stone brick wall of what exactly this information is and where to find it and how it's proven. Creating a list of pros and cons will help educate our viewers and alumni along with participants to see exactly why this is needed, what are some of the downsides, but mostly focusing on the pros. All of this can be posted on our Oregon FFA website and social media. My third reason, along partnering with Microsoft, we can easily create a virtual reality game, which is a great way to get viewers partnered and really interested in something that maybe people wouldn't be as interested in. But this is a great way to educate younger kids along with elders and really anyone in between, because everyone wants to get involved and play a fun game. Who wouldn't, right? This will help show why this is so necessary and really why this is a huge topic for debate, along with the actual difficulty of driving something that heavy, that long. My fifth and final reason is by the date of August 15th, 2022, this gives us time. Right now, we're in a really hard place with coronavirus. So August 15th, 2022 gives us a little bit of time just to see where we're at and work from there. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Is there any further debate?
Mr. Chairman,
Reporter from Hermiston.
I move to amend the amendment by striking out everything after pros and cons on the topic and inserting in its place and having a 15-minute long video interviewing small farmers and commercial agriculturists about the hauling of their products and how COVID-19 has affected their farm by the date of August 22nd, 2023.
Second.
Second.
Was it after small farmers and agriculturalists?
And commercial agriculturists about the hauling of their products and how COVID-19 has affected their farm by August 22nd, 2023.
Second.
Amendment of the amendment to the amendment. Your amendment to reads that to striking out everything after pros and cons and inserting and making a 15-minute video interviewing small farmers and commercial agriculturists and the hauling of their products and how COVID-19 has affected them by August 22nd of 2023. Is this correct?
Yes.
Madam Maker of the amendment to the amendment, you have first right to debate.
My first reason is by having the video only 15 minutes, it's short enough to still captivate the audience while still informing them about the important information on the topic. My second reason is by having both small and commercial farmers, we will be able to see both sides of agriculture and see if it's truly necessary. My third reason, by having them talk about COVID-19, COVID-19 has changed our economy, and having an extra step in hauling of agriculture could be a strain on their market. My fourth reason is by having it pushed back to August 22nd, 2023, it gives us enough time to recover and hopefully find a stable economy. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there further debate?
Mr. Chairman,
Sen from Hermiston.
I move to postpone this matter to the Oregon FFA State Convention of 2024.
Second.
Time. All motions have been moved and seconded, and previous question on all pending business has passed.
We will now vote on the postponing of this matter to a later date, which reads to postpone this matter to the Oregon FFA State Convention of 2024. All in favor of this postponing, please signify by raising your hand. All opposed, same sign. Postpone matter fails with 0 in favor, 6 opposed, and 0 abstained. We will now vote on the amendment to the amendment, which reads that after checking out the pros and cons, that making a 15-minute video interviewing small farmers and commercial agriculturalists on the hauling of their products and how COVID-19 has affected them by August 22nd of 2023. All in favor of this amendment to the amendment, please signify by raising your hand. All opposed, same sign. Amendment to the 6 in favor, 0 opposed, and 0 abstained. We'll now vote on the amendment to the main motion, which now reads that after partnering, after livestock, to insert partnering with the Oregon Department of Agriculture and the Oregon Department of Transportation to fund and research a list of pros and cons on this topic, and making a 15-minute video interviewing small farmers and commercial agriculturalists and the hauling of their products and how COVID-19 has affected them by August 22nd of 2023. All in favor of this amendment to the main motion, please signify by raising your hand. All opposed, same sign. Was that in favor?
What?
All right, here, I'm going to just redo that. All in favor of this amendment to the main motion, please signify by raising your hand. All opposed, same sign. Amendment to the main motion passes with 6 in favor, 0 opposed, and 0 abstained. We'll now vote on the main motion, which reads that Oregon FSA supports requiring a CDL for hauling agricultural products or livestock and partnering with the Oregon Department of Agriculture and the Oregon Department of Transportation to fund and research a list of pros and cons on the topic and making a 15-minute culturalist, the hauling of their products, and how COVID-19 has affected them by August 22nd of 2023. All in favor of this main motion, please signify by raising your hand. All opposed, same sign. Main motion fails with 0 in favor, 6 opposed, and 0 abstained. I will now give my secretary 3 minutes to finish her notes.
Okay, I'm done.
Meeting adjourned.
Nora, if you would just like to send those to me, share them with me. I got them. You're good to go. So everyone else, you are welcome to leave. Sydney and Abigail, I'll see you back at 5:30 for the 4th round. And Nora and Noel, if you want to stay on, your teammate should be joining you in just a few minutes.
All right.
So welcome to the second round of the Beginning Parli Pro event. On the floor, we have Yamhill Carlton, and in the chair, we have Sutherland. YC, if I can see your topic sheets so I can make sure that they are clean, empty, and new. Awesome. Flip them over. Great. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Topics have been randomly selected and given to the chair of Sutherland, so she has those when she needs them and will access those. Again, there will be no more than 3 topics discussed during this round, and you will have 12 minutes following the first motion when we go into debate. Any questions? Okay, Madam Chair, the floor is all yours.
All right. The meeting room will come to order. We are now holding the second session of the Oregon State Beginning Parliamentary Procedure Career Development event. Given that this is a competition, we will dispense with all opening formalities and move directly on to new business, which is the consideration of topics. Madam Chairman, and order of precedence is shown by a raise of hands. The first topic is topic 8. Should Oregon FFA support cap and trade legislation? What is the delegation's pleasure?
Chairman,
The chair calls on the vice president of Yamhill.
I move that Oregon FFA support cap and trade legislation with a cap of 5 million metric tons of greenhouse gases each year.
Is there a second?
Second.
It has been properly moved and seconded that the main motion states, I move Oregon FFA support cap and trade legislation with a cap of 5 million metric tons of greenhouse gases each year. Madam Maker of the main motion, you have the first right to debate.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. So the reason why is that I apologize. Back in 2017, there was 6.5 billion metric tons of greenhouse gases put out into the atmosphere. This is an exorbitant amount of greenhouse gases. This is well enough on our way to killing the environment. And by killing the environment, you can talk about how you have all these businesses that you need to kill the environment off completely. You're not going to have any businesses. Now you have climate change, which is really like what's going on right now. And so you have climate change, and you have all these coral reefs dying out in the ocean, and you have trees and forest fires, and the amount of heat going on is just going up and up and up, as well as the flash floods that are affecting communities and other natural disasters. These things keep on occurring. And by having this cap and trade legislation, we can put a cap on how many greenhouse gases we produce. And so by doing this, we can then lower the amount of greenhouse gases put out into the atmosphere each year. Now we need to start doing this by 2021, or else by 2030, we are not going to be able to change the way that we are going. And in the end, we are all going to end up in just a climate change ridden area. Thank you.
Is there any further debate? The chair calls on the secretary.
I understand where all this climate change talk is coming from, but we also have to think about our small communities with small farming businesses and how their family could be affected and how the entire community could be infected or affected by this cap and trade legislation. Because not only are they have big machinery that they can't just sell off and it's still going to be used, but it still creates a lot of these greenhouse gases that we just can't get rid of. This expensive machinery costs a lot for the family, and this whole business, if families have, can be damaged and hurt from this, and this can also go back to the communities and hurt the community as well. Thank you.
Further discussion. The chair calls on the treasurer from Yamhill.
I disagree with this main motion. Under the current circumstances, COVID-19 has caused farmers to get very behind in their work. They should not have to worry about this rule. In addition, many local businesses are currently going out of business. This could also happen to our farmers if they are being limited while using certain farming materials. Thank you.
Is there any further discussion? The chair calls on the reporter from Yamhill.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I strongly urge the delegation to vote in opposition of this main motion because who's going to go around checking every single business for what their carbon emissions and greenhouse? There are too many businesses in Oregon for them to accurately get this information, as well as having to go to every single farmer, because farmers produce a lot of greenhouse gases because they need to use their tractors and transport their stuff, and some of their animals put out greenhouse gases. So how is Oregon going to be able to, first of all, afford to look over all of these businesses and farms? And second of all, how are they going to keep track of everything in an accurate method that makes it easier for everyone? Thank you.
Is there any further discussion? The chair calls on the president.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I am in disagreement with this main motion because my family, we own a small excavation business, and with that, we have to buy a lot of old equipment to really get us started. And the problem with old equipment is they release a lot of greenhouse gases. And if we were to support the whole cap and trade thing, I don't think it would really help our business. And to be honest with you, we can't afford to buy a bunch of brand new equipment. That's millions of dollars. And I mean, just a single bulldozer is about $150,000. And it financially wouldn't make sense for us to have cap and trade because we'd be losing a lot of small businesses. My family, we'd lose our livelihood. A lot of other families end up that just for 5 million metric tons, these people should be losing their entire way of life. And so I am in disagreement with this main motion. Thank you, Madam Chairman.
Is there any further discussion? The chair calls on the vice president.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. So we can talk about having to pay for all this new equipment, but in reality, the thing that costs the most is actually the transportation. This is what produces the most carbon dioxide, and carbon dioxide makes up 82% of all the greenhouse gases up in the atmosphere. The way you can most make carbon dioxide from transportation is things like airplanes, things like, you know, the ships going across the ocean, cargo ships. You have the trains. Now, sure, having these cars on the road and having to go back and forth does create a lot of carbon dioxide emissions, but it is not the leading factor. So a lot of these things wouldn't be affected entirely. And so then you can go on to say how you have the cattle that produce a bunch of methyl. And so this makes up 10%. And I personally believe that this should not be affected with the cap and trade because it is not going to be up there. And not only that, but it is a natural resource. Thank you.
Is there any further discussion? The chair calls on the president.
I would like to amend the main motion by striking out 5 million and inserting 7 million, and then at the end, putting by 2022.
I'm sorry, your amendment can only change one thing about the main motion at a time. Would you like to restate your amendment?
5 million metric tons to 7 million metric tons.
Is there a second?
Second.
It has been properly moved and seconded to amend the main motion by striking 5 million metric tons and inserting 7 million metric tons. If the amendment were to pass, the main motion would now read, I move Oregon FFA support cap and trade legislation with a cap of 7 million metric tons of greenhouse gases each year. Mr. Maker of the amendment, you have the first right to speak.
I believe that if we just add this 2 million more metric tons, it'll at least give smaller businesses and transportation businesses a little bit more leeway if we were to pass this main motion, which could save businesses and save people's livelihoods. So that's why I decided to make this amendment. Thank you, Madam Chairman.
Is there any further discussion? The chair calls on the Sentinel.
I agree with this amendment to the main motion because by adding this in, it gives small businesses a better chance of being able to continue operating with the cap and trade, and it's just overall better for the businesses.
Is there any further discussion? The chair calls on the reporter.
I move previous question on all pending business.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. Previous question on all pending business. I'd like to remind the delegation that previous question on all pending business is a non-amendable, non-debatable to pass. All those in favor of previous question on all pending business, please signify by raising your hand. You may lower your hand. All those opposed, same sign. Thank you. You may lower your hand. With previous question on all pending business fails. Debate will continue on the amendment to the main motion, which states to strike 5 million metric tons and insert 7 million metric tons. Is there any further discussion? The chair calls on the secretary.
I move to refer this to a committee of 5 with the power to research and report back, with 2 ex officio members of a small local farmer and a climate scientist.
Can you please repeat your referral after power to act?
Research and report back by the next state delegate session with an ex officio member of a local farmer and a climate scientist.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay.
It has been properly moved and seconded to refer this matter to a committee of 5 with the power to act, to research and report back, including an ex officio member of a local farm and a climate scientist. Madam Maker of the referral, you have the first right to speak.
I think that we need to dig into this topic more and actually pull out more specific pieces on how this is going to affect the environment, which is why I have added the climate scientists, because they will know all the statistics on how this will affect the climate and the environment and our surroundings. So it's very important that we get information from them to help us make a proper vote. And then a local farmer to know how it's going to affect that all of us probably want to support and keep going. And we need to help those small local farms to keep going. And I just think by adding a local farmer, we can see how it's going to affect them better, and we can get a better look at this topic. Thank you.
Is there any further discussion?
Time. All motions have been moved and seconded, and previous question on all pending business has passed.
Since previous question on all pending business is passed, we will move to vote on the referral, which reads, I move to refer this matter to a committee of 5 with the power to act and research and report back, including an ex officio member of a local farm and a climate scientist. All those in favor of this referral, please signify by raising your hand. All opposed, same sign. Thank you. You may lower your hand. With 5 for and 1 against, this matter will be referred, the referral passes. This matter will be referred to a committee of 5 with the power to act and research and report back, including an ex officio member of a local farm and a climate scientist. My secretary will now have 3 minutes to finish her notes. The secretary.
Okay. Riley, do you have my email address?
No.
So I will put it in the chat and you can send those to me.
Okay.
This meeting is now dismissed.
Thank you all. YC, you guys are good to go. And so welcome to the 3rd round of the Beginning Parli Pro event. Our team on the floor is Sutherland, and in the chair we have Bend. Sutherland students, if I can check your topic sheets, so just hold them up so I can see the fronts and the backs really quick. Awesome. Let me see the back sides. Looks great. Thank you. Again, topics have been randomly selected. There will be no more than 3 topics presented during this round. Our chair for Bend already has those topics in her possession. Time will be called at 12 minutes for this round, following the development of the first motion from the floor. Are there any questions before we get started? Madam Chair, the floor is yours.
The meeting room will come to order. We are now holding the 3rd session of the Beginning Parliamentary Procedure State Contest. Because this is a contest, we will dispose of all opening and closing ceremonies, officer and committee reports, old business, and move directly into the new business. The first topic up for discussion is topic number 4. Should Oregon FFA support growers/producers continuing or establishing national grower assessments or national checkoffs? Is there any debate?
Madam Chairman.
The chair calls upon the Vice President of Sutherland.
I move that Oregon FFA supports producer establishing state grower assessments on hazelnuts by co-writing legislations with the Oregon Farm Bureau.
Can you please repeat the main motion?
I move that Oregon FFA supports producers establishing state grower assessments on hazelnuts by co-writing legislations with the Oregon Farm Bureau.
Can you please repeat after state grower?
Assessments by co-writing legislations with the Oregon Farm Bureau.
Is there a second?
Second.
Has been properly moved and seconded that Oregon FFA support producer establishing state grower assessments by co-writing legislations with the Farm Bureau. Is that correct?
Yes.
Madam Maker of the motion, you have first right to debate.
So by supporting grower assessments on hazelnuts, we're supporting that hazelnuts in general. Hazelnuts are 100% grown in Oregon. And what state assessments do basically is take the profits from hazelnuts and put it back into marketing hazelnuts as a whole. and by co-writing legislations with the Oregon Farm Bureau are based in Oregon. They know how most of them are probably such a popular wide thing. So they would really know what hazelnuts are and the best way to market them and the best way to help us establish the state grower assessment. This is why I strongly urge the delegation to vote for my main motion.
Is there any other debate? The chair calls upon the reporter of Sutherland.
I disagree with the main motion because not only does the main motion take away needed money from small farmers, but it also gives the big players all of the opportunities and all of the control in this situation. So I urge you to vote no on the main motion.
Is there any other debate?
Madam Chairman,
The chair calls upon the Sentinel of Sutherland.
I move to amend the main motion by inserting after hazelnuts and blueberries.
Can you please restate your amendment?
I move to amend the main motion by inserting hazelnuts and blueberries.
I'm not sure if I got something wrong, but I do not have hazelnuts anywhere in the main motion. Do you want to restate your amendment?
Yeah, I move to amend the main motion to insert after at the end by 2022.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that we add on to the end by 2022 to make the main motion, if passed, read, I move Oregon FFA support producers establishing state grower assessments by co-writing legislations with the Farm Bureau by 2022. Madam Maker of the Amendment, you have first right to debate.
Thank you. With this motion, we need to make sure that we have time to do this, and in order to successfully complete this to the ability we can. So by having it by 2022, we are making sure we can at least meet virtually or in person, or depending on how it is with the world right now, we would be able to make good changes and make sure that we are doing good and not just making something worse. That's why I strongly urge the delegation to vote for this amendment.
Is there any other debate?
Madam Chairman,
The chair calls upon the Secretary of Sutherland.
I move to refer this matter to a committee consisting of the Executive Committee with the power to act.
Can you please repeat after consisting of the
Oregon State Executive Committee with the power to act.
Is there a second?
Second.
It has been properly moved and seconded. Madam Maker of the referral, you have first right to debate.
I believe this because they are older and more experienced than us, and also they are more respectable, and we know that they will do this topic justice. And that is why I urge you to vote for this referral.
Is there any other debate? Debate? Any other debate? With no further debate, previous question on all pending business has been passed. We will now vote on the referral. All in favor of referring this matter, please raise your hand. All opposed, same sign. The referral passes with 6 in favor and 0 opposed. I now declare this matter referred. We will now go into the next topic, which is topic number 7. Should Oregon FFA support the repeal of the Waters of the United States WATSU Clean Water Act rules? Is there any debate?
Madam Chairman,
The chair calls on the President of Sutherland.
I move Oregon FFA repeal the Waters of the United States Clean Water Act by holding a social media campaign.
Can you please restate your main motion?
I move Oregon FFA support President Trump's repeal of the Waters of the United States Clean Water Act by holding a social media campaign.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second.
Has been properly moved and seconded that Oregon FFA support President Trump's recent decision to repeal the Water of the United States Clean Water Act rules by holding a social media campaign. Madam Maker of the motion.
Before we get to exactly why we should support this, we should first understand what the Waters of the United States Clean Water Act is. This is an act restricting pollution or use of pesticides or herbicides or anything that would harm waterways in our nation. However, this can affect farmers and ranchers or people that own land because these rules apply so heavily that they could take from the rivers through our state to a small canal in our farm, a small canal or irrigation or an irrigation tunnel to in a farmer's field. This can affect them negatively because they have to go on with fines that come with this, and they have to restrict the use of things, so that way they can't grow crops as much as they could when this act wasn't there. Holding a social media campaign is very vital in this because we could get people to, in fun and interactive ways, to learn about this and come in support of this. This is why I strongly urge the delegation to vote in favor of the main motion. Thank you.
Is there any other debate?
Madam Chairman.
The chair calls on the treasurer of Sutherland.
Well, I strongly disagree with this main motion for a few reasons. The first reason is that with this act being passed, it may possibly have waterways be polluted. And when waterways are polluted, it can destroy habitats, and habitats could possibly be homes to endangered species, and we don't want to kill off these species. Another reason why is that these waterways may possibly lead out to a stream, which leads out to the river, and that'll start polluting the river, and the river will start polluting the ocean and just end up snowballing and just creating a big fiasco that nobody wants. So that is why I strongly urge you to vote no on this main motion.
Is there any other debate? The chair calls on the Sentinel of Sutherland.
I move to amend the main motion by inserting at the end an informational YouTube series.
Is there a second?
Second.
It has been properly moved and seconded to add on to the end and an informational YouTube series. Madam Maker of the Amendment, you have first right to debate.
Thank you. So I strongly agree that we should have a social media campaign, but I also believe we should have a YouTube series along with it because 65% of the population are visual learners. So we should be able to stress the importance of this to YouTube and pictures and such. So it will just make sure that everyone understands what this is and make sure that they actually get what's going on and be able to understand it better. That's why I strongly urge the delegation to vote for this amendment.
Is there any other debate?
Madam Chairman,
The chair calls on the Vice President of Sutherland.
I move to lay this matter on the table.
Is there a second?
Second.
Has been properly moved and seconded to lay this matter on the table. Madam Maker of the motion, you have first right to debate.
What was the topic again? I didn't catch it.
The what?
The topic. I didn't catch it.
Topic number 7, should Oregon FFA support the repeal of the Waters of the United States Watsu Clean Water Act rules?
Laying the matter on the table, you draw a new topic.
Thank you. We will now go on to the next topic, which is topic number 5. Should Oregon FFA support changes in federal forestry practices to allow for the prompt removal of dead and downed materials and restoration of forest lands after catastrophic event? Is there any debate?
Madam Chairman,
The chair calls on the Vice President of Sutherland.
I move that Oregon FFA supports removing dead and down material in all areas are in high risk of wildfire.
Can you please restate your?
I move that Oregon FFA supports removing dead and down material in all areas high risk of wildfire.
Is there a second?
Second.
It has been properly moved and seconded that Oregon FFA support the removal of dead and down materials in all areas of high risk of wildfire. Madam Maker of the motion, you have first right to debate.
Thank you. So by removing dead and down material in only areas of high risk of wildfire, we're providing closure to a lot of people. A lot of people in Australia and California have lots of worries about their houses burning down and the effects they could have on their family and everything about that. Also, removing dead and down material in only high risk of wildfire area will allow areas that are not as high risk to still have this material that animals can be provided with and they use as homes and shelters. This is why I strongly urge the delegation to vote for my main motion.
Any other debate?
Madam Chairman,
The chair calls on the reporter of Sutherland.
I disagree with the main motion because not only does removing the dead and down materials affect the plants and trees in the area, but also the soil. And removing this material could result in an imbalance in the ecosystem because animals and others use this as food and shelter.
All motions have been moved and seconded, and previous question on all pending business has now passed.
Seeing as time has been called and previous question on all pending business has been passed, we will now vote on the main motion, which reads, the main motion which reads, I move Oregon FFA support the removal of dead and downed materials in all areas of high risk of wildfire. All in favor of this main motion, please raise your hand. Thank you. The main motion has been passed unanimously. I now declare this meeting adjourned.
Welcome to the fourth and final round of the Beginning Parli Pro contest. On the floor, we have Bend, and in the chair, we have Hermiston. 3 topics have been randomly chosen and given to the chair to use at her discretion. Again, those 3 topics are the only 3 topics that we will discuss, as we will not have any more than 3. We do have a time limit of 12 minutes, which will start following the development of the first motion and when debate begins. Do you guys have any questions? Okay, Madam Chair, the floor is yours.
Thank you. The meeting room will come to order. We are now holding the 4th and final session of the FFA Beginning Parliamentary Procedure State Contest. Due to the nature of this contest, we will dispense of all opening and closing ceremonies, officer and committee reports, and move directly into new business. I would like to remind the delegation that I prefer to be addressed as Madam Chairman, and please, to get my attention, signify by raising your hand. I will now draw the first topic for debate. Topic number 8 has been drawn. It reads, should Oregon FFA support cap and trade legislation? Is there any new debate?
Madam Chairman,
The chair calls upon the reporter from Bend.
I move Oregon FFA create a petition that citizens vote on cap and trade legislation.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. If properly moved and seconded, your main motion would read, I move to create a petition that citizens vote.
No, I said I move Oregon FFA create the petition.
In full, it would read, I move Oregon FFA create a petition that citizens vote on cap and trade legislation. Is this correct? Yes. Madam Maker of the main motion, you have first rights for debate.
As we are aware, cap and trade legislation could do devastating things to our economy. It is unfair that those who stand to benefit from such a bill be the ones to make the decision, rather than the people whom it will be affecting. With COVID-19 going to be heavily affecting our economy in the future, it is important that the people decide whether or not they want to put a new layer on the taxes that they will be receiving due to their struggles, which is why you should vote in favor of this main motion.
Thank you. I would like to remind the delegation that the main motion on the floor reads, I move Oregon FFA create a petition that citizens vote on cap and trade legislation. Is there any new debate?
Madam Chairman,
The chair calls upon the vice president from Bend.
I move to postpone this matter indefinitely.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second.
Thank you. Mr. Maker of the postponement indefinitely, you have first rights for debate.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. FFA is, at its heart, an educational organization, so we shouldn't even be talking about this because it's so controversial and political. No matter what we do, it could make it seem like we're taking a stance, and we don't want that because it would make us seem biased. So that is why you should vote in favor of this postponement.
Thank you. I would like to remind the delegation that the motion on the floor reads, I move to postpone this matter indefinitely. Is there any new debate?
Madam Chairman.
The chair calls upon the president from Bend.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I move to amend the main motion by striking create a petition for citizens to vote and insert in its place educate the public.
Second.
Second.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. If properly moved and seconded, your amendment to the main motion would read to strike out, create a petition that citizens vote and insert in its place, educate the public. Is this correct?
Yes.
Madam Maker of the amendment to the main motion, you have first rights for debate.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I think that we should insert educate the public on instead, because before people vote on this main motion and the cap and trade legislation, they need to know about it. They can't just vote on something that they don't know about, or else that won't end up well and they will just blindly vote. And that, therefore, I think we should pass this amendment, that way they can be educated before they vote. Thank you.
Thank you. I would like to remind the delegation that the amendment to the main motion on the floor reads, I move to strike out, create a petition that citizens vote and insert in its place to educate the public. Is there any further debate?
Madam Chairman.
The chair calls upon the treasurer from Bend.
I move to postpone this matter to the next Oregon legislative system.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second.
Thank you. If properly moved and seconded, your postponement definitely would read, I move to postpone this matter to the next Oregon legislative system. Is this correct?
Yes.
Mr. Maker of the postponement definitely, you have first rights for debate.
Thank you. I feel that it is important to state that the next Oregon long legislative event is February 1st, 2021. And I feel that that is when we should do finish this topic, because we will know more about this information after that legislative event. Thank you.
Thank you. I would like to remind the delegation that the motion on the floor reads, I move to postpone this matter to the next Oregon legislative system. Is there any further debate?
Madam Chairman.
The chair calls upon the sentinel from Bend.
I move previous question.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Previous question has been called. We will now go to vote on previous question. All those in favor of previous question, please signify by raising your hand. Thank you. All opposed, same sign. Thank you. With 6 in favor and 0 opposed and 0 abstentions, the postponement definitely passes. Is there any further debate?
Point of order.
The chair calls upon the reporter from Bend.
We voted on the previous question. Postponement definitely, so we should be voting on that.
Thank you. Point well taken. We will now go to vote on the postponement definitely. It reads, I move to postpone this matter to the next Oregon legislative system. All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. Thank you. All opposed, same sign. Thank you. With 6 in favor, 0 opposed, and 0 abstentions, the postponement definitely passes. Now, is there any further debate?
Point of order.
The chair calls upon the reporter from Bend.
We should be moving on to our next topic of discussion as we've postponed this matter and will not be able to discuss this further until after the time has been reached.
Thank you. Next topic for debate, topic number 6 has been drawn. It reads, should Oregon FFA support changes in the state's labor laws to allow workers as young as 12 to be employed as seasonal farm labor? Is there any new debate?
Madam Chairman,
The chair calls upon the secretary from Bend.
I move Oregon FFA make a video supporting seasonal farmers as young as 12 on agricultural properties.
Can you please repeat your main motion?
I move Oregon FFA support workers as young as 12, seasonal workers as young as 12, to be working on agricultural properties.
Second.
Seeing as you repeat
The last one that I just supporting their families or doing something they love. Thank you.
that the main motion on the floor reads, I move Oregon FFA support seasonal farm workers as young as 12. Is there any further debate?
Madam Chairman,
The chair calls upon the president from Bend.
I move to amend or to postpone this matter indefinitely.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second.
Thank you. It has been properly moved and seconded to postpone this matter indefinitely. Madam Maker of the postponement indefinitely, you have first rights for debate.
Thank you. I don't think we should be taking sides on this matter because it could be bad for the public image. I think if we are voting for either side, that some people could take it the wrong way, and so I think that we should just not take a side on this at all. I strongly urge the delegation to vote in favor of this postponement. Thank you.
Thank you. I would like to remind the delegation that the motion on the floor reads, I move to postpone this matter indefinitely. Is there any further debate?
Madam Chairman,
The chair calls upon the sentinel from Bend.
I move to amend the main motion by striking supporting and inserting create a social media video about.
Second.
If properly moved and seconded, your amendment to the main motion would read to strike out support and insert in its place, create a social media video about. Is this correct?
Yes.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Madam Maker of the amendment to the main motion, you have first rights for debate.
Oregon FFA's reputation. And I think this amendment would take it into mind and make it so we can still talk about this topic because it is important, but also make our stance neutral and create a better reputation for Oregon and FFA, as well as still get the message out there. Vote in favor.
Thank you. Is there any further debate?
Madam Chairman,
The chair calls upon the treasurer from Bend.
I move to refer this matter to a committee of the Oregon state officers and 3 Oregon advisors.
Your referral to the committee would read, I move to refer this matter to a committee of Oregon state officers and 2 Oregon advisors. Is this correct?
Yes.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second.
Thank you. Mr. Maker of the referral to a committee, you have first rights for debate.
I referred this to the state officers and to 3 advisors because I feel that they are the best suited in understanding.
I would like to remind the speaker that since you referred it to 2 Oregon advisors, you have to stay on the topic at hand since your referral to the committee reads 2 Oregon advisors and you just previously stated 3. Would you like to rephrase your debate?
Yes.
Thank you.
I believe that 2 state officer or state advisors and state officers and these state officers are best suited for the topic at hand in understanding the public image of the Oregon FFA, and that would be very important in understanding this topic, as other speakers have mentioned. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any further debate?
Madam Chairman?
The chair calls upon the reporter from Bend.
Time. All motions have been moved and seconded, and previous question on all pending business has passed.
Thank you. Previous question on pending business has passed. We will now go to vote on the referral to a committee. It reads, I move to refer this matter to a committee of Oregon state officers and 2 Oregon advisors. All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. Thank you. All opposed, same sign. Thank you. The referral to the committee passes unanimously with 6 in favor, 0 opposed, and 0 abstentions. Since no further business may come before this meeting, I will now adjourn this meeting and pass the gavel on to the next presiding officer. Please allow 3 minutes for my secretary to complete their notes.
Sydney.
Yep.
How many, for the referral, how many state officers were there and how many advisors were there?
It just said Oregon state officers and 2 Oregon advisors.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.